A man stands in front of a small audience while giving a presentation. There is a slideshow being projected behind him. Figure 7.1. Developing the right skills to give a presentation is just as important as knowing how to create one. Credit modification of man in black suit and blue denim pants standing beside projector screen by Pavel Daniliuk/Pexels, CC0. Chapter outline. 7.1 Effective presentation skills. 7.2 Finalizing a slide collection. 7.3 Preparing a Microsoft PowerPoint collection for presentation. 7.4 Preparing a Google Slides collection for presentation. In preparing presentations, you were shown how to put together a basic presentation. You designed a professional presentation and are sure that it contains all relevant content and all the necessary elements. Now the nerves start to set in, and the reality that you have to present this to an audience hits you. This chapter focuses on that next step of presentation readiness and provides the knowledge and tools to give you the confidence to present with ease. You will not only deepen your presenting skills by learning more advanced functions of Microsoft PowerPoint and Google Slides, but you will also learn the equally important skills of collaborating and presenting in a professional setting. Even if your slides are outstanding, you will still need to practice your presentation and consider your audience. All of these skills will help you take your presentation and your presenting skills to the next level, setting you up to be well prepared to give the presentation in front of your WorldCorp colleagues. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to ensure the slideshow meets the needs of the presentation. Craft a strong presentation hook. Identify the key skills for presenting in front of an audience. Describe the importance of a strong closing. A well-crafted set of slides is essential for an effective presentation. Equally essential are presentation skills. In this first section, we discuss some best practices in presenting. Some people may be apprehensive about presenting in front of a group, others may welcome the challenge. At this point in your academic career, you may have also taken a course in public speaking. Regardless of your prior experience and your feelings about presenting in front of others, some practice and attention to developing your skills as a presenter will be worthwhile. We can all benefit from fine-tuning our public speaking and presenting abilities, even if we are regularly in front of a group. These skills are relevant in all types of meetings, whether in person or virtual. One of the best ways to improve your presenting is to practice. This can help you work through all of the technological hiccups, as well as set your mind at ease. You should practice in the same space and with the same technology if possible, as well as practice what you are going to say and your demeanor during the presentation. The importance of this prep work cannot be overemphasized. Consider recording yourself as you are practicing to give you a first-hand look at your presentation skills. This strategy is helpful even if you are presenting fully in person. Ensuring the final presentation meets its goals. In general, to create an effective presentation, you first need to understand the goal or intent of the presentation. Your supervisor may provide those goals, or you may determine them yourself. Regardless, setting your goals first will help you ensure that the look of your slides matches those goals. Presentations can fall into one of the following categories, as outlined in Table 7.1. Persuasive, instructional, informational, or inspirational. Knowing the goal of your presentation helps you set the stage for developing the slides and constructing your narrative. For example, if you want to create a lively, inspirational presentation to encourage the audience to donate to a nonprofit cause, a gray-tone slide presentation dominated by text will not be effective in meeting your goals. Type main goal example. Persuasive to prompt the audience to act. Provide enough information and support to move the audience in the desired direction. Encourage participation in a local community cleanup effort. Instructional to educate the audience. Typical of training presentations. New hire training by the Human Resources Department. Informational to report on company performance or other metrics. Include charts and visuals. Quarterly sales reports for each region in a company. Inspirational to energize the audience to evaluate and change a belief, or to motivate the audience to act on that changed belief. Solicit donations for a nonprofit. Table 7.1 Types of presentations. The goal of the presentation should guide all aspects of slide development, from color choices to the graphics included on the slides to the overall tone of the presentation. Opening a presentation. There are many ways to start a presentation to engage your audience. What you do not want to do is jump right into the content or start by simply introducing yourself. You want your audience to be interested and engaged right away and to want to know more about what you are presenting. To get your audience interested and engaged in the presentation from the get-go, consider developing a strong opener or hook. A hook is a statement, story, or question designed to get participants' attention and pique their interest. For example, if you are presenting WorldCorp sales goals, you could begin with a personal anecdote about how you once set a goal and achieved it. Alternatively, you could ask the audience to think about a time when they faced a lofty goal and found a way to overcome the challenges. Be creative. Think about a time when you were in a meeting or presentation and found yourself engaged from the beginning. What did that speaker do to get your attention? Did the presentation include compelling statistics? Maybe a short video or bit of humor got your attention. The hook helps set the tone of the entire presentation and can establish rapport with the group. It is your way to connect with the audience from the initial stages of the presentation. Also, think about your goals and how they are relevant to the type of presentation you are giving. Do you want to inspire the group and leave them with a call to action? Perhaps your presentation is a training session where you will be assessing the participants' learning at the end. Keeping the type of presentation in mind can help you craft an impactful hook. After you have delivered the hook, transition into the introduction of the slideshow, drawing the connection between the hook and the goal of the slideshow. Spotlight on ethics, inclusivity, and presentations. When delivering presentations, consider the needs of all audience members and ensure accessibility for all individuals, including those with disabilities. Presentations should be designed and delivered in a way that accommodates individuals with visual, hearing, or other impairments to ensure equal access to information and an inclusive experience. Here is an example. Imagine WorldCorp is conducting a large-scale conference at which it provides handouts of presentation slides to attendees. In this case, it would be important to consider whether the handouts are available in alternative formats, such as Braille or accessible electronic formats. This ensures that individuals with visual impairments can access the same information as everyone else. Additionally, in the context of delivering presentations, presenters should consider incorporating accessible features in their slides and delivery style. Some key considerations include the following: clear and readable text. Use legible fonts, appropriate font sizes, and high contrast between text and background colors to ensure readability for individuals with visual impairments. Alt text for visuals. Provide alternative text descriptions for images, graphs, and charts. This allows individuals with visual impairments who use screen readers to understand the content presented visually. Captioning and transcripts. If the presentation involves audio or video elements, provide closed captions or transcripts. This helps individuals with hearing impairments or those who may have difficulty understanding the spoken language. Verbal descriptions. When demonstrating visual elements, ensure that the presenter provides verbal descriptions of what is being shown on the screen. This assists individuals who are visually impaired and cannot see the visuals. Inclusive language and tone. Use inclusive language and avoid making assumptions or generalizations that could marginalize or exclude certain groups of individuals. By considering these guidelines, presenters can create a more inclusive and accessible environment, ensuring that their presentations are accessible to a broader range of individuals. Key presentation skills. Specific skills can vary by the type of presentation. For example, if you are giving a persuasive presentation, you might use more humor than you would in an informational presentation. There is no single standard set of skills that all presenters should possess, and what defines a good presenter versus a bad presenter can be quite subjective. However, there are some skills that pertain in all situations. A good presenter is one who is prepared, professional, and able to communicate effectively with the audience. First, consider what you are going to wear to the presentation. You should choose attire that is professional and appropriate for the type of presentation you are giving. Make sure you feel comfortable too. Do not wear clothing that you think you will be fidgeting with or accessories that you might handle if you are feeling nervous, such as coins or keys in your pocket. If your hair falls on your face often, you may want to pull it back for the presentation. The fewer distractions there are, the better. Consider the type of footwear you will wear. If you will be moving around the room during the presentation, choose comfortable shoes that you are confident walking in. The type of flooring in the room is also something to consider. Carpet is typically much quieter when walking during the presentation. Certain shoes on tile floors can be quite loud and distracting. Also, think about the temperature in the room. When you are presenting, you may warm up quickly because of nerves and because you are active. Choose attire that will not show signs of sweat and will not let you become overheated. You might also want to consider what fragrances you typically wear. In a smaller or warm room, strong fragrances can quickly become overwhelming and distracting. But first and foremost, be on time for your presentation. In fact, you should plan to arrive early. Arriving early will help set your mind at ease and leave time for you to work out any issues that may arise. A good rule of thumb is to arrive at least 30 minutes before your presentation is scheduled to start. Get the slideshow set up before any participants arrive and get prepared to begin. Remember, you will start with your hook. Be sure to use your slides as a supplement to what you are saying. The slides should not be the centerpiece. They are secondary and complementary to what you want to convey. Reference the content on the slides as necessary to keep the audience engaged. During the presentation, be aware of your body language. You want to appear confident and prepared. Make eye contact with the audience, making sure you look at all sides of the room. Also, you should display body language that shows the audience you are engaged and excited about the presentation. This means good posture, using hand gestures as appropriate, and pausing to make sure the audience is following. There is nothing worse than sitting through a presentation where the speaker appears disengaged and bored. Try not to rely on the slides or your notes too much, and avoid turning your back to the audience. It is acceptable to walk out into the room a bit and not stay in the front of the room or behind a computer desk or podium. However, too much moving around can be distracting to the audience and make you appear nervous and unprepared. Think about how your voice is coming across to the audience. Have good voice projection without yelling. Maintain a conversational style of speaking, rather than sounding monotone and memorized. Avoid swearing and inappropriate jokes. Be sensitive to audience members and aware of words or phrases that may reflect any bias or discrimination. Use pauses and voice inflection when you want to draw attention to certain parts of the presentation. Throughout the presentation, you can also repeat or rephrase important points for emphasis. Speak slowly and clearly. Keep a bottle of water close in case you need it, especially if you will be speaking for an extended period. If you lose your train of thought or are searching for the next phrase, avoid using filler words such as and Instead, try silently counting to yourself for a few moments. This is one strategy that can help you avoid using words to fill pauses. Sometimes a little silence is okay. You do not need to fill every spare moment with speaking. Again, consider recording yourself presenting to see where you can improve. Use the available technological tools such as the Rehearse with Coach feature in PowerPoint. Your skills and comfort level will improve with practice and preparation. The more you practice and present in front of others, the better you will get at it. Real-world application. TED Talks. One way to hone your presentation skills is to watch other presenters. TED Talks are an excellent source. One TED Talk that is often recommended for its exceptional presentation skills and storytelling is The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown. In this talk, Brown, a renowned research professor and author, explores the topic of vulnerability and its connection to human connection and personal growth. Brown's talk stands out for several reasons. Engaging storytelling. Brown captivates the audience with personal anecdotes, humor, and relatable stories that make the topic accessible and relatable to a wide range of people. She uses storytelling as a powerful tool to connect with the audience emotionally. Authenticity and vulnerability. As she discusses vulnerability, Brown displays a genuine and vulnerable presence on stage. She shares personal experiences and openly acknowledges her own struggles and fears. This authenticity creates a strong connection with the audience, making her talk even more impactful. Research-based content. Brown supports her talk with research findings, which adds credibility and depth to her message. She presents her research in a way that is easily understandable and relatable, helping the audience grasp complex concepts. Humor and wit. Brown infuses her talk with humor and wit, using well-timed jokes and lighthearted moments. This keeps the audience engaged and creates a pleasant atmosphere during the presentation. The Power of Vulnerability has millions of views and has resonated with people worldwide. It serves as an excellent example of how effective storytelling, authenticity, and research-based content can create a powerful and memorable presentation. Closing a presentation. Just as you need a strong hook to start off a presentation, you also need a strong closing statement. It should be more than simply a summary of what you discussed in the presentation. Your closing statement should be a few words that leave a lasting, positive impression and that convey the essence of the slideshow. You want your audience to remember the presentation, especially your key points. This is your last chance to bring it all together for the audience. To prepare your closing statement, start by making a list of the top 3 to 5 items you hope the audience will walk away with after listening to your presentation. For Amir's presentation at World Corp, he may want the audience to remember his leadership skills, his teamwork ability, and a few items about his background. In your closing, you can re-emphasize these items in a creative way rather than simply listing them one by one. For example, your closing slide might include a collage of pictures that visually represent your main points. If you are giving a persuasive or inspirational presentation, you may want to close with a call to action, what you hope the participants will be motivated to do after hearing your presentation. For example, if you are giving a presentation to encourage people to donate to a nonprofit organization, in the closing you can specifically ask about how to donate. Another option is to end the presentation with a story or joke that sums up the main points. If you started with a story as your opening hook, you can come back to that story and add more to it. Finally, you may want to use a quote from a famous historical or contemporary figure that encapsulates what you hope the audience will take away from your presentation. As you can see, there are many ways to close a presentation that go beyond simply ending with a thank you or questions slide. Your main goal should be to get the audience to remember the presentation and the message you set out to convey. Link to learning. One technique to engage the audience during a presentation is to tell a story rather than give a speech. People are intrigued by stories. Using this approach encourages your listeners to create mental images. See this blog on storytelling techniques used by the TED presenters for some tips on using storytelling in presentations. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to choose an appropriate and engaging color scheme, modify a theme of a presentation, utilize design ideas options to change the look of individual slides, enhance images used in slides. At some point in your career, you might need to present an analysis of data to an audience of peers or management. Your information must appear clear and professional and will likely include graphs and charts of your analysis. In preparing presentations, we learn the basics of putting together a presentation and including tables and images. However, when finalizing your presentation, you may want to adjust the colors, slide layout, and other aspects to take your presentation to the next level. The theme and color choices of these elements can be critical to developing a professional presentation that will impress the audience and effectively communicate your intended message. In this section, the focus is on PowerPoint. The use of these skills in slides is covered in a later section, color schemes. Through the use of color and other design elements, you can visually highlight key points. Your color choices can also engage the audience by evoking emotions. If you are not careful, though, the color scheme can be distracting and take away from your message. You will also want to keep text to a minimum on each slide, focusing on keywords or ideas, and using the notes section to capture your speaking notes and detail. Link to learning. When preparing the colors for your presentations and charts, there are a few guiding principles you can follow that will help make your presentation look professional. Some of these tips include the following. Keep the color scheme simple by using no more than 3 colors, one main color, a secondary color, and an accent color. The main color should represent about 60% of the color in your presentation, the secondary color should be about 30%, and the accent color should make up the remaining 10%. Keep the colors in balance with tint and hue. For example, do not pair a rich royal blue with a pale pastel yellow. Choose high contrast colors for the most impact. Spread the content out over several slides. Do not put all the data or charts on a single slide. Visit this web page on choosing the best colors for your presentations for more details on how to use color to create an effective presentation. Choosing your own color scheme can be a fun way to create your own style for your presentation. However, you may want to go with a preset color scheme to ensure that all the chosen colors go together in a harmonious way. PowerPoint makes this process easy by providing themes, which provide a cohesive and unified design scheme across the whole presentation, allowing you to maintain consistency across slides, even if they have different content. When you apply a theme, PowerPoint automatically updates the color palette, font styles, background designs, and other visual attributes of the presentation. This helps to save time and effort by eliminating the need to manually adjust the appearance and colors of each slide individually. Modifying a theme. PowerPoint offers a variety of built-in themes to choose from, each with its own unique combination of colors, fonts, and effects. Additionally, you can customize and create your own themes by modifying the visual elements according to your preferences. Themes keep the look and feel of slides consistent. The theme is applied to all slides you select and is designed with preset colors, fonts, and background styles. Here we go more in depth about the changes you can make to the theme selected for a presentation. Let's practice by modifying the existing theme selected for the My Life in a Snapshot presentation that you created in preparing presentations. You have decided that, after learning more about color theory and how colors can evoke emotions in others, you want to change the theme and enhance some color elements. Figure 7.2 shows the original theme selected for the presentation as well as a starting slide that you created in preparing presentations. Recall that themes are accessed through the Design tab in PowerPoint. The theme includes more muted brown tones, and you want to add more color to the presentation to make it more engaging. A PowerPoint application is open on the Design tab. It shows the theme currently used and several other options that could be used. Figure 7.2 each thumbnail displays the main font that theme will use as shown by the AA as well as the color palette, shown in the form of the small rectangles at the bottom of each thumbnail. Used with permission from Microsoft, you decide to go with warm colors as they convey energy and optimism. Let's first look at how you can change the elements and colors of the current theme. From the Design tab, choose the Command Group Variants to make adjustments to the theme. Variants are changes to a theme such as colors or slide layouts, essentially, variations to your selected theme. You can also find these options in the Slide Master tab. Figure 7.3 shows the options you have for changing parts of the theme, colors, fonts, effects, and background styles. Choose a vibrant color scheme that includes orange and yellow colors. When you select a new color scheme, it will be applied to all slides in the presentation. If you choose, you can also customize colors if you do not like the preset color schemes. A PowerPoint screen is open to the Design tab. There is an arrow pointing to the Open Colors option and an additional window indicating the various colors that could be used. Figure 7.3a. In addition to colors, you can change other aspects of the theme, including fonts and backgrounds. B. When you choose an option under Colors, you will see the change to your slides immediately on the screen. Used with permission from Microsoft. Link to Learning. Color theory focuses on the way colors mix together. Knowing a little bit about color theory and the color wheel can go a long way toward helping you select a color scheme or theme for your presentation. Watch this video on the basics of the color wheel and how to apply it to PowerPoint to learn more. To create a customized color scheme, click on the Design tab located in the PowerPoint ribbon at the top of the screen. In the Variants section of the ribbon, click on the Colors drop-down button. This will display a list of built-in color schemes and options. At the bottom of the Colors drop-down, select Customize Colors. A new window titled Create New Theme Colors will appear. In the Create New Theme Colors window, you will see several categories of colors such as text background, accent 1, accent 2, and so forth. To create a custom color, click on the color square next to the category you want to customize. For example, click on Text Background to customize the color used for text in slide backgrounds. In the Color Picker window, you have several options to create a custom color. You can use the sliders or input fields to adjust the RGB, red, green, blue values of the color. Alternatively, you can enter the hexadecimal value or hex code of the desired color in the FFFFFF format. You can also choose a color from the standard or custom color palettes. Choose Customize Colors at the bottom of the Colors menu. To create a custom color by selecting a color from your slide, click on the eyedropper tool and then click on the desired color within your slide. Once you have set the desired color, click the OK button to save it. Repeat for other color categories if you want to customize them as well. After customizing all the desired color categories, click the Save button in the Create New Theme Colors window. In the Save dialog box, enter a name for your custom color scheme and click Save Figure 7.4. Naming the color scheme will save it for future use. A PowerPoint screen is open to the Design tab. There is an additional window open for new theme colors. Figure 7.4, you can create a customized color scheme for your presentation and save it to use in future presentations. Used with permission from Microsoft. Now adjust the color of the first text option to be a dark red color, as shown in Figure 7.5. Notice that the thumbnails of all the slides have changed to reflect the new color scheme. A PowerPoint screen is open to the Design tab. There is an additional window open for new theme colors. There is a red circle around the first standard color. Figure 7.5. The new dark red font color is used throughout the existing slides and any new slides created in the presentation. Used with permission from Microsoft. Other options and variants include changing the font for the theme and effects. To change the font, simply select a new font, and it will be applied to all slides in the current presentation and any additional slides that you might add. The effects options change how images and other graphic elements are added to the slide. By adjusting effects, you can change the shadowing, lines, and fill elements in a graphic added to a slide. For example, let's insert a list as a SmartArt graphic. SmartArt was introduced in preparing presentations. Choose an option from the list section of SmartArt and modify it to include shadows to see how the effects can change. Remember, when you change an item in variants, whether it is a font, a color, or an effect, it will apply to all slides in the presentation. First, navigate to the Strengths and Skills slide in the My Life in a Snapshot presentation. You can either choose the list from the slide view on the left panel or use the page down key on the keyboard to get to the slide. Then go to the Insert tab to insert a SmartArt graphic that is appropriate for lists, such as the basic block list option. When the graphic is inserted, choose a SmartArt style that has shadows. Figure 7.6. A PowerPoint screen is open to the SmartArt Design tab. A red circle has been placed around one style. On the main screen is a template made up of 5 text boxes. Figure 7.6 Effects changes the fill effects, lines, and shadows of inserted graphics. Used with permission from Microsoft. When you have selected the style, go back to the Design tab to adjust the effects from the Variants command group. Choose a new effect to see how the elements of the SmartArt graphic are modified. For this example, the grunge texture effect was selected. You will see the change in the graphic as you hover over the various effect modifications. See Figure 7.7. A PowerPoint screen is open to the Effects menu on the Design tab. It shows several different options. On the main screen are a set of template text boxes. Figure 7.7. The new effect chosen, grunge texture effect, will now apply to all graphics that are currently in or added to the slides in a presentation. Used with permission from Microsoft. The last section of the Variants command group is the background style. This option allows you to change not only the color but also the fill and texture of the background of the slides. As with the other selections, you access this through the Design tab. Initially, you are given choices to change the color of the background. Note that these colors are pre-selected for you based on the color scheme that you chose for the theme. As with the other changes, you will see a preview of the change to the background color as you hover over the options. Figure 7.8. Not all colors will work with your chosen font colors or other elements that you have included in the presentation. For example, choosing a dark red background color with the dark red font will make the font unreadable. The chosen color will be applied to all slides in the presentation and any new slides that you add, so consider the entire presentation when selecting the background color. A PowerPoint screen is open to the Background Styles menu on the Design tab. It shows an additional open window with several colors to choose from. Figure 7-8. Keep in mind the color of the fonts as you choose a new background color. Used with permission from Microsoft. The Format Background option gives you the tools to change the gradient, transparency, and fill pattern of the background. A gradient is when one color fades into another. For example, for a slide background, you could add a gradient effect to a slide where the color blends and transitions from green to blue. When you select Format Background, a panel will open on the right, giving options to change various aspects of the background. There are preset gradient options that will also change the color of the background beyond the few options that you originally have available in Background Styles, as Figure 7-9 shows. Or you can choose to adjust the current option. In this example, we are using the radial gradient, but that can be adjusted through the Format Background options. Image A shows the Format Background options. Image B shows the preset gradients for background color. Figure 7-9A. By changing the settings in the Format Background options, you can customize the look of your slides. B. Preset gradients offer many more color choices for the background colors. Used with permission from Microsoft. Designer. The latest version of PowerPoint includes a feature called Designer. This feature helps you create professional-looking presentations and enables you to change the layout of slides automatically. You can use it to format a slide using various preset formats and to add additional design elements to the slides. It gives you a nice way to vary the layout and enhance the visual appeal of slides in a presentation. When a new slide design is applied, it affects only the current slide, not the entire presentation. Let's try inserting a slide into the My Life in a Snapshot presentation after the title slide to include information such as hometown, education, and a fun fact about yourself. Using the skills acquired from preparing presentations, insert a slide that will include this information. Start filling in the slide content with the title background. Include the other items for the slide. Then select the Designer option on the Home tab to access the assorted designs for this slide, Figure 7-10. The Designer tool can also be accessed through the Design tab. Note that the Designer tool might not have any ideas. When this happens, you will receive a message, "Sorry, no design ideas." You might also receive suggestions that are not appropriate or helpful. A PowerPoint screen is open with the Designer option selected. Below the Designer button is a small window showing several organization options. Figure 7-10 Designer gives you various options for layout and design based on the information contained on the slide. Select one of the designs from the list to apply to the current slide only, used with permission from Microsoft. You can also apply a new design to an existing slide by first selecting the slide and then once again going to Designer from the Home tab. The available slide design ideas vary by chosen theme. Some have more choices than others. Figure 7-11 shows the options available when you change the theme of the presentation. A PowerPoint screen is open with the Designer option selected. Below the Designer button is a small window showing several organization options. Figure 7-11 The Designer tool can be used to add variety and visual interest to your slides. Used with permission from Microsoft. Advanced tools for image enhancement. When creating a presentation, you are likely to include visual elements such as pictures, graphics, and tables. You are likely to want to make some adjustments, such as cropping, to the images to make the pictures clearer and more professional in your presentation. There are several techniques that can help when inserting visual elements into your presentation. These include removing the background of a picture, cropping the picture, and creating an overlay for the image. Removing the background of a picture. When you have a slide that has a colored background, inserting an image with a different background color can be problematic, because the image's background may clash or stand out in an undesirable way. PowerPoint has a great tool to remove the background for images, which allows you to select the areas to keep in the image. Go back to the My Life in a Snapshot presentation. Do you recall the empty space next to the star on slide 3? Let's add a picture of a mirror next to the star. However, now that we have our yellow slide background, the image's white background seems a bit out of place. Figure 7. 12. Let's try removing it. When you select the image, you get the Picture Format tab in the ribbon. Select the tab and the Remove Background tool is on the far left of the tab selections. A PowerPoint screen is open with the Remove Background option selected. It also shows a red box around the picture format features. Figure 7.12. The Picture Format tab gives you tools to make changes to the image, including removing the background. Used with permission from Microsoft. To begin the process for removing the white background from the image of a mirror, select Remove Background. PowerPoint will attempt to determine the background that you would like to remove by shading the space a different color, in this example, purple, as shown in Figure 7. 13a. Notice that Amir's hair is part of the selection. We do not want to remove his hair. From the tools, select Mark Areas to keep and click on the hair area of the image. When you select the tool, you will get a pencil icon that you can use to click on the areas that should remain in the image. Repeat this step to keep the rest of his shirt in the image. When you are finished with the selections, click on Keep Changes. The resulting image should have only the areas you selected removed, Figure 7.13b. To select areas to remove in an image, you follow a similar procedure. Image A shows an open PowerPoint screen with the background removal option selected. The areas to be removed are highlighted in bright purple. Image B shows the background removed. Figure 7. 13a. The bright purple highlight is a clear and obvious way for PowerPoint to indicate which parts of the image PowerPoint suggests you should remove. B. Removing the background from the image gives the slide a much cleaner look. Used with permission from Microsoft. Crop and fit images to shapes. Sometimes you may need to reduce the size of an image or change its shape to fit into a particular space on the slide. To accomplish this, you use the crop tool. To crop means to cut out parts of the image. Images can be cropped to remove items that are visible in the picture but that you do not want to see. For example, let's assume that on the background slide, we want to showcase that Amir enjoys kayaking. He has a picture of himself and his friend kayaking last summer, but he would like the image to include only himself. He can crop the photo to remove his friend from the picture. To crop an image, select the image and select the Crop tool from the Picture Format tab, Figure 7.14. The image can also be cropped to a specific shape, such as a circle. Additionally, the aspect ratio of the image can be changed to adjust the height, vertical, and width, horizontal of the image with preset values. The aspect ratio sets the ratio between the height and the width of an image. We can also fit the image to a space or to specific dimensions. For this example, let's first crop the image to only include the top kayak. To do this, select the image and select Crop. Notice that the outline of the image changes with black boundary lines that you can use to cut the image. Click on one of the black lines or corners. In this example, we will crop the image by choosing the bottom center line and pulling it up. To finish cropping the image, click on the slide area outside of the image, Figure 7.15. A PowerPoint screen is open. An image on the slide has been selected for cropping. Figure 7.14. By using the Crop tool, you can remove the unwanted parts of an image. You can crop an image from all sides and corners. Used with permission from Microsoft. The PowerPoint screen is open. An image on the slide is shown after it has been cropped. Figure 7.15. After you have finished cropping the image, the black lines around the picture will disappear. Used with permission from Microsoft. The cropped image needs further adjustment to make it look appropriate in the space for the image. You can take several steps to accomplish this. You can move the image down to center it in the box. You can enlarge the image to fill the space more fully. You can also crop the image to a specific shape to add visual interest, Figure 7.16. Finally, you can add a text box to provide a description of the image for the audience, as we learned in preparing presentations. A PowerPoint screen is open. An image on the slide is shown after it has been cropped in the form of an oval. Figure 7.16. The Crop tool gives you many options to fit an image to a specific space on the slide. Used with permission from Microsoft. Creating transparent picture backgrounds. Suppose you decide that the kayaking picture might have more impact if it were placed in the background of the slide, rather than in the white box off to the right. You can accomplish this by adjusting the transparency of the image. The amount of light that is allowed to pass through an image is called transparency. If an object is totally solid, like the star included on slide 3 of the presentation, it is considered opaque, meaning no light is allowed through the shape. When we adjust the transparency, we are adjusting how opaque or translucent, clear the image is. This type of change is easy to make in PowerPoint. First, you will need to change the design of the slide to remove the framed box on the right of the slide. To do this, go to the Slide Master tab. Recall that the Slide Master tab summarizes all the features contained on a slide. Choose the Hide Background Graphics box in the Background command group, Figure 717. Now you will notice the frame around the picture has been hidden. A PowerPoint screen is open with the Hide Background Graphics option selected. Figure 717. The frame around the picture was added when we changed the design of the slide using Designer. We can hide it because it is considered a background graphic of the slide, used with permission from Microsoft. Next, click on the picture and access the Picture Format tab to make the picture transparent. The transparency tool is located in the Adjust command group. Choose the down arrow to see the transparency options for the photo, Figure 718. When you have selected an option that works, you will need to resize the photo to take up more of the background of the slide. You can also adjust the cropping of the image from the circle to a different shape, if desired. It may be a good idea to change the font color of the text to make it stand out more from the image background. There are other options in the Adjust command group to change the look of the picture, such as the Artistic Effects, Figure 719. Explore the options and see how the changes impact the image. If desired, you can also reset the image to its original state. Keep in mind that as you resize a picture, its quality may be diminished, depending on the original resolution of the image. You may not be able to enlarge all images to fill the entire slide while maintaining the clarity of the photo. In this example, the photo is slightly blurred, but because it is more transparent, the image quality is still acceptable. A PowerPoint screen is open with the transparency option selected. Figure 718. You can adjust an image to various levels of transparency, used with permission from Microsoft. The PowerPoint screen is open with the Picture Format tab open. There is a red box around the command group tools. Figure 719. There are numerous ways to enhance images using the Adjust command group tools, used with permission from Microsoft. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to add transitions to a presentation, add animations to objects and text boxes, use the tools in the Media command group, finalize your presentation for viewing, understand the hardware components of effective presentations, prepare for different types of presentations, in-person, virtual, or hybrid. You learn the basic workings of PowerPoint in preparing presentations. Now it's time to learn how to turn those basic slides into a presentation that not only informs but also engages the audience. You want to create a presentation that's seamless and easy to present from. For example, if you are giving an in-person presentation, you don't want to have to stand by the computer and manually advance the slides. Also, since the My Life in a Snapshot presentation is a presentation about yourself, you want to convey that you are competent with PowerPoint. Your supervisor told you today that you will need to record the presentation so that it can be shared with others at WorldCorp's international office locations. In this section, you will acquire the skills to virtually automate your presentation while also including the key information you will need to keep you on track as you present in front of an audience. Finally, you hope to be able to provide printed handouts to the participants in case they need the information later on. Integral to that is learning about other tabs in PowerPoint, namely the transitions, animations, slideshow, record, and review functions. Transitions. The term transitions refers to the way one slide changes to the next slide. As you can see on the Transitions tab in Figure 720, there are many ways to move between slides. The transition to the slide command group contains options such as fade, split, and shape. You can use the timing command group tools to determine the duration of the slide on the screen or how quickly the slides move transition from one to the next. A sound can be used as the slide transitions, or you can simply move to the next slide using a mouse click. An image of a PowerPoint ribbon with the transitions feature selected. Figure 7. 20 transition effects can apply to a single slide or all slides in the presentation. Used with permission from Microsoft. There are many transitions to choose from Figure 721. For example, you can have a slide fade into the next slide or push one slide out of the way for the next one. You can have a slide zoom in from one side when moving to the next slide. But keep in mind that not all the options available are necessary or even professional. Overuse of distracting transitions can take away from the professionalism of a presentation. Choose a transition that works for your content and one that is not going to be too distracting to those viewing the slideshow, and that is not irritating to you as the presenter. Look at the available options for slide transitions and see what they do when you advance to the next slide. Practice with the transitions before you present in front of an audience. If a transition seems to take too much time or seems to stand out more than what you are discussing, you should select a different one. You can always choose to have no transition between the slides. This simply means when you advance the slide, it will move fully to the next slide with no special effects. You must apply the transition to each slide individually. Whatever you choose will not affect the entire presentation. To apply a transition to the current slide, simply click on the desired transition. The preview command on the far left allows you to see how the transition works on the slide. Stay focused on the message you are conveying, not on the way one slide transitions to the next. Always remember that just because you can do something does not mean you should. With transitions, follow the principle that less is more if you want to maintain a professional business look. A screenshot of the details below the Transitions tab is shown. It displays 3 headings with features: subtle, exciting, and dynamic content. Figure 721, the Transitions tab shows the choices you have for moving between slides. Notice the transitions are grouped by theme: subtle, exciting, and dynamic content. Used with permission from Microsoft. You will notice that the transitions pane is organized by transition effect. For instance, the first command group, titled Subtle, contains morph, fade, push, wipe, split, reveal, and cut. It contains more options, but these are the most used. A description of each is in Table 7.2. There are 2 other transition command groups, exciting and dynamic content. These transitions are more animated and may not be appropriate for all presentations. But for certain types of presentations, such as sports media or sharing family photos in a slideshow, these transitions might work. Morph apply to a slide, and the slide before it will dissolve out, and the slide on which morph is applied dissolves in. Fade, one slide fades into the next, so both slides appear at the same time for a second. Push pushes one slide up and out of the way, revealing the next slide. Wipe wipes out a slide in a horizontal direction to reveal the next slide. Split makes a cut up the center of the slide. Each half is pushed out of the way to reveal the next slide. Reveal, one slide blends out and the next slide blends in. Cut creates a sharp end to one slide and a sharp start to the next. Can be a jolting transition experience. Table 7.2, subtle transitions. For our title, Slide in My Life in a Snapshot, let's choose the wipe transition. Notice in Figure 7.22 that when you choose a transition other than None, the preview tool will be available, as well as an effect options menu. Again, preview allows you to see the transition in action. The effect options gives you additional modifications to the transition that you can apply to the slide. Keep in mind, any modifications are only on the current slide. You will need to apply the transition and the modification to all slides if you want it to be consistent throughout the presentation. A PowerPoint screen is open to the Transitions tab with the Effect Options menu open and the Preview feature selected. Figure 7.22, you can change the direction of the wipe transition using Effect Options. Used with permission from Microsoft. The last command group on the Transitions tab is Timing. Timing is where you can add sound to your slideshow, as well as choose how many seconds to move from one slide to the next. The arrow gives you many choices of pre-recorded audio sounds, such as applause, explosion, and wind, or you can choose a sound file from your computer. When selecting a sound, consider the audience, the presentation environment, as well as the intent. Is the sound relevant to the presentation? Does it enhance the presentation, or is it a distraction? You can apply the sound to the whole slide or to an object on the slide. For example, perhaps your slideshow was created to announce the winner of a competition. You can place a picture of the winner on a slide, and as it is revealed, it is accompanied by a round of applause. Again, use this option with caution, as your audience is not expecting to hear sudden sounds. This command group lets you set the duration of the sound as well. Additionally, you can set the way the slideshow advances by clicking the mouse or automatically after a set amount of time. Animations. Slides and presentations as a whole can also be enhanced with the addition of animations. An animation is a special effect added to objects and elements on a slide. They will apply only to that object, shape, or other element, not the entire slide. For example, you could choose to have a picture slowly fade away or come into view during the presentation when you are discussing a current slide. This could be impactful if you want to bring the audience's attention to a particular element on a slide. As with other additions, keep in mind that these special effects should have a purpose and be used to enhance or draw attention to something in a presentation. They should not be overused to the extent of being distracting and taking away from the key message you are trying to convey on a slide. Let's look at the Animations tab in more detail to see the options you can use for elements on a slide. Figure 723 shows the choices available. The first command group is Preview. Click on this and you can see in advance the animations you have implemented. The second command group is Animation. 6 choices are shown, including None. Click on the More arrow and 13 additional movements appear, as well as some emphasis animations. The Animations tab is shown. It identifies the scrolling feature for different animations and a close-up of the shape format options. Figure 723, the Animations ribbon shows you all the options for animating elements on a slide, used with permission from Microsoft. By scrolling down, you will also see other animation options, including exit effects and motion paths. Figure 724, a screenshot is presented showing the different animation options. Figure 724, additional animations are available, including some of the emphasis animations, used with permission from Microsoft. To add an animation to your presentation, click on a text box or an object, and then choose an animation from the menu. Next, in the Timing command group, click the drop-down arrow for Start. You can leave it at Start on click, or you can choose Start with Previous or Start after Previous. You need to choose when the animation will start. Not all animations need to be dramatic or used for emphasis. For example, you can make a bullet list appear one bullet at a time, as opposed to having the whole list appear at once. You can have the first bullet appear, talk about it, and when you are ready, click the mouse again to have the second bullet appear, and so on. This can help you control the flow of the discussion by limiting what your audience sees on the screen. For consistency, you should use the same animation for each of the bullet points in the list. We can use this approach to add animations to the bulleted list in our My Life in a Snapshot presentation. We used a bulleted list in the Strengths and Skills slide. Let's apply an animation there. To begin, click on the bulleted list to select it. Then go to the Animations tab and choose an appropriate animation. For this example, let's choose Appear, so that the bullet will simply appear based on the settings you choose in the Timings command group. See Figure 725. Notice when an animation is added to an object or text box, the Preview tool is available on the left of the screen, as is a numbered list to the left of each item in the bulleted list. These numbers allow you to adjust the settings for each of the bullet points in the list. When you add an animation, there are also adjustments that can be made through the Effect Options drop-down list. The list can appear as one object all at once or by paragraph. A PowerPoint screen is open to the Animations tab. The Effect Options button is selected. Figure 725, you can adjust the settings for each bullet to have a different animation. Here, the by paragraph sequence is chosen so that each bullet point can be sequentially added one by one when you click. Used with permission from Microsoft. You need to adjust the settings for each bullet so that one will follow the other. You can choose to have the bullet appear after a certain amount of time or when you click. For now, let's set it up so that the bullet points will appear when you click, because you are not yet sure how long to talk about each one. For the first bullet point, Situational Awareness, the animation will start on click, which you choose from the drop-down menu in the Timing command group as shown in Figure 726. This will be the setting for each bullet. Selecting the small number to the left of the bullet allows you to change the settings for each animation individually. The other options in the timing command group allow you to set the timing for the animation and the delay as you move from one animation to the next. For this example, we left those at their default values and will simply use either the mouse or the Enter key to click when we want to have the next bullet appear. Use the Preview tool to make sure the animation is working. A PowerPoint screen is open to the Animations tab. The Appear option has been selected and has been set to start on click. There is an arrow pointing to the first bullet to appear. Figure 7.26. Each bullet can have a customized animation setting, used with permission from Microsoft. The remaining command groups on the Animations tab are Advanced Animations and Timing, Figure 7.27. In the Advanced Animations command group, you can control the trigger for when slides transition. It could be a click of the mouse or after a certain amount of time. In a presentation where you might be in a large room and not close to the laptop or computer, having slides automatically advance might be helpful, although you will need to be aware of how much time you have for each slide and make sure that you do not expect interruptions until the end of the presentation. In this case, you will want to ask the audience to hold all questions until you are finished with the presentation. Finally, if you are one presenter of several during a session and you have very strict time requirements, the timing tools can help keep you on track. A screenshot of the Animations ribbon tab is shown. The Appear option is selected and there is a close-up of the animation pane. Figure 7.27. The tools in the Advanced options allow you to further customize the chosen animation and to open the animation pane to the right of the screen. Used with permission from Microsoft. Clicking on the first command, Add Animation, opens the same window that you see when you click on More in the Animations group. At the bottom of the animation illustrations is a list. You can click on More Entrance Effects, More Emphasis Effects, More Exit Effects, or More Motion Paths. Another command in this advanced group is Animation Pane. When you select this tool, a pane opens on the right side of the screen that lists all the animations on the slide. Here you can play the animations or make changes. The other commands include Trigger and Animation Painter. Trigger governs when an animation begins, while Animation Painter is similar to Format Painter in that it copies an animation to another object. The timer on the Animations tab refers to the timing options available for animations applied to objects or elements on a slide. The timer allows you to control when and how the animations occur during a slideshow presentation. On the far right of the Animations tab, you will find the timing group. Select an object or element on a slide and apply an animation to it. Once selected, you can access the timer options to specify the timing and duration of the animation. Table 7.3 summarizes the options. Start determines when the animation starts playing. By default, it is set to on click, meaning the animation will start when you click the mouse during the slideshow. However, you can choose other options such as with Previous, starts the animation simultaneously with the previous animation on the slide, or After Previous, starts the animation right after the previous animation finishes. Duration sets the length of time the animation will take to complete. You can specify a specific duration in seconds or milliseconds. The default duration varies depending on the animation type, but can be adjusted per your preference. Delay introduces a delay before the animation starts. You can specify a delay in seconds or milliseconds. This can be useful to create time gaps between different animations on a slide. Repeat determines if the animation should repeat after it completes. You can choose to repeat the animation a certain number of times or have it repeat indefinitely until the slide advances or the animation is manually stopped. Rewind when done playing when selected. This option causes the animation to reset to its original state when it finishes playing. This is useful for animations that involve movement or transformations. Table 7.3 Timing Group Options. By adjusting these timer options, you can precisely control the timing and behavior of animations on your slides, ensuring they align with your desired presentation flow and visual effects. While it may be fun to animate all kinds of things in your presentation, remember that it is your message that matters. Audiences can easily get distracted or fascinated by animations and not pay attention to the substance of the presentation. Therefore, it is important to use animations judiciously and purposefully to enhance, rather than distract from, your content. Animations in PowerPoint can be effective tools for emphasizing key points, guiding the audience's focus, or adding visual interest. However, it is essential to strike a balance between engaging animations and maintaining the clarity and effectiveness of your message. Here are a few best practices to consider. Keep it relevant. Only use animations that directly support or enhance the content of your presentation. Avoid using excessive or flashy animations that serve no real purpose, as they can overshadow your message. Enhance comprehension. Use animations to aid in the understanding of complex concepts or processes. For example, you can use animations to sequentially reveal steps or demonstrate cause and effect relationships. Use sparingly. Don't apply animations to every element on every slide. Selectively choose elements that truly benefit from animation to avoid overwhelming the audience or diluting the impact of your message. Prioritize readability. Ensure that animated text or objects remain easily readable and don't become distorted or hard to follow. Consider the size, font, and colors used in your animations to maintain legibility. Practice timing. Fine-tune the timing of your animations to maintain a smooth flow throughout the presentation. Avoid animations that are too fast or too slow, as they can disrupt the natural pace of your delivery. Rehearse and gather feedback. Before delivering your presentation, rehearse with the animations to ensure they enhance your overall delivery. Seek feedback from trusted colleagues or friends to gauge if the animations effectively support your message or if they become distractions. Remember, the primary goal of your presentation is to convey a clear and impactful message. While animations can be engaging, they should never overshadow or detract from the substance of your content. Strive for a harmonious balance between captivating visuals and a compelling message to create a memorable and effective presentation. Media Command Group. The Media Command Group is used to add audio or video media to the presentation. There might be instances where you would want to add a short clip of a video or audio to enhance the presentation of a topic. For example, in your role in the marketing department at WorldCorp, you might want to share a clip of a new radio ad campaign or a short video showing some concepts for new ads to be placed on the website for a new line of products. You can do this by embedding various media types into a slideshow presentation. The Media Command Group is located all the way on the right side of the Insert ribbon tab. You have 3 options to choose from, as shown in Figure 7.28: Video, Audio, and Screen Recording. The screen recording option will allow you to record your computer screen and insert it into your presentation. A screenshot of the tools in PowerPoint is shown with the media option selected. Figure 7.28: The media menu makes it easy for you to choose which type of media you want to insert. Used with permission from Microsoft. Let's add a video to our kayaking slide. We have the option of adding a video that we have created ourselves, a stock video that is already available in PowerPoint, or a video that is available online, such as from YouTube. You will want to consider the source of your media, as well as how you will be presenting this material. For instance, is the media file linked to the internet? If so, you will want to ensure you have internet connectivity in order to play the video. For this example, let's search stock videos for a kayaking video to insert into the slide. As a word of caution, do not overuse these tools. Consider only the additions that will enhance the presentation content. Not every slide should include media, and not all presentations are appropriate for media. To add media to a slide, select the slide for the addition. In this case, insert the video on the background slide. Go to the Insert tab and click on the Media Command Group. Select Video, then select Stock Videos from the menu, Figure 7.29. In the search bar, type kayak to locate a kayaking video to insert onto the slide. Once the video is on your slide, you have the option to resize it, Figure 7.30. Image A is a screenshot close-up of the media button and features. Image B shows the stock images search feature with the video option selected. Figure 7.29a, you can search online or through available videos in PowerPoint to find one to insert into the slide. B, choose Insert to place the video into the slide. Used with permission from Microsoft. Image A shows a PowerPoint screen with a video of a woman kayaking shown. Image B shows a PowerPoint screen with the same video of the woman kayaking in a smaller frame. Figure 7. 30A, the video will insert at a large size. Click on it to resize it to fit on the slide. B, you can play the video using the control keys under the video insertion. Used with permission from Microsoft. Once the video is inserted into the slide, it will automatically play when you get to that slide in the presentation. However, you can change this through the Playback tab that becomes available on the ribbon when the video is selected. Figure 7. 31. It is important to preview the video before presenting or sending the presentation to others. Previewing the video in your presentation ensures that it meets your expectations, enhances your message, and delivers a seamless viewing experience to your audience. It allows you to proactively address any issues, improve the overall quality, and ensure a successful presentation. Notice there are several options available on the Playback tab. Experiment with the settings to see which ones appeal to you most and give the slides a professional appearance. A PowerPoint screen is open to the Playback tab. The video on the main screen is selected. Figure 7. 31. Be sure to determine whether you want sound in the video. That can be adjusted with the Playback tab options. Used with permission from Microsoft. Finalizing your slide. Before you complete your presentation, you should give it a final review so you can see exactly how it will appear to your audience. It is also important to practice your presentation and consider the other non-digital elements involved in a presentation, such as monitoring the length of your presentation and interacting with the audience. By accessing the Slideshow tab as shown in Figure 732, you can view the complete presentation from start to finish. The first command group in this tab is called Start Slideshow, and you can choose from beginning or from current slide, and the presentation will do just that. This is a wonderful way to preview all the transitions and animations you have added, as they will appear to the audience. Next, you can choose the option to present in Teams, which we covered in Essentials of Software Applications for Business. You need to be logged into your Microsoft account to use this option. The next command is Custom Slide Show, which allows you to choose the slides to use in the show. This is a helpful option should you need to shorten the presentation. A screenshot of the tool ribbon with the Slideshow tab selected is shown. Figure 732, this is the ribbon where you can set up, rehearse, and make final adjustments to your presentation. Used with permission from Microsoft. Next, you can choose the Rehearse with Coach tool, which allows you to practice the presentation and get feedback in real time. This tool will listen for things such as using or in the presentation as well as how fast you are speaking. Not only will the tool give you a summary of items related to your speaking skills, but it will also provide you with some strategies for improvement. You will need to have the microphone enabled on your computer to use this feature. This is a helpful tool as you work to develop your skills presenting in front of a group. The next set of commands is in the Setup command group. Rehearsing the timing, playing narration, and other options are controlled through the tools in this command group. These tools allow you to fine-tune your presentation options. Clicking on the Setup Slideshow button, for example, opens a menu with a number of different settings, as shown in Figure 733. A screenshot of the Setup Show tools is shown. Figure 733, the Setup Show tool allows you to control many different aspects of your presentation, particularly the hardware elements, such as using multiple monitors and how your presentation will be viewed by others. Show type. Used with permission from Microsoft. As you can see, you can set the show type as either presented by a speaker in full screen mode, browsed by an individual in window mode, or browsed at a kiosk in full screen mode. The default setting is presenting full screen, where you can click through the slides as you present them. The window mode setting allows you to present with the slides in a resizable window rather than in full screen. Finally, the kiosk setting is used when you want to run the presentation continuously, such as at a company event. For example, suppose you want to have a new marketing campaign available for employees to view at an internal conference. By choosing the kiosk setting, the slideshow could run automatically and continuously until you turn it off. The Setup Slideshow tool also gives you the option to hide a slide, rehearse the timing, or record the slideshow. Other options in this window require just checking the appropriate boxes, such as keep slides updated, play narration, and so on. The last command group on the slideshow tab is captions and subtitles. The tools here allow you to turn on and modify the captions and/or subtitles in your slideshow. You can determine where you would like the subtitles to be placed, for example, at the top of the slide. Mac tip: when adjusting the caption and subtitle preferences on a Mac, you will be directed to your operating system's accessibility settings. Record tab. If you need to record the presentation to send to others or even for your own viewing, you will find the tools you need in the Record tab, Figure 7.34. This feature in PowerPoint allows you to capture your presentation, either from the beginning or starting from a specific slide, and customize the recording options, Figure 7.35. In recording options, you can choose whether to record the entire presentation from the beginning or start recording from a specific slide. This flexibility is helpful if you want to focus on specific sections or if you have already recorded part of the presentation and want to continue from where you left off. PowerPoint allows you to record audio along with your presentation. You can use a microphone to narrate your slides and explain concepts, making the recording more engaging and informative. This feature is particularly useful for online training sessions, narrated presentations, or self-paced learning materials. A screenshot of the Tools ribbon with the Record tab selected is shown. There is an arrow pointing to the Record button. Figure 7.34. Recording the presentation can help you as you rehearse to present in front of others. In the Record mode, you will see several tools such as exporting and adding notes to help you when presenting. Used with permission from Microsoft. A screenshot of the Record feature view open is shown. It displays the Record button at the top, notes, and the selected PowerPoint screen. Figure 7.35. This is what your screen will look like after you hit the red Record button in the Record ribbon. Used with permission from Microsoft. In addition to audio recording, PowerPoint offers screen recording functionality. This enables you to capture actions on your screen, such as demonstrating software usage, showcasing a website, or walking through a step-by-step process. Screen recording can enhance the clarity and understanding of your presentation, especially when visual demonstrations are involved. After you complete the recording, you can export it as a video file. This video can be shared with others, uploaded to video hosting platforms, or embedded in websites or learning management systems. Exporting the recording as a video makes it more accessible and shareable across different devices and platforms. During the recording process, you can add private notes to your slides to help guide you through the presentation. These notes are only visible to you and serve as personal reminders or prompts while delivering the presentation. They are not included in the recorded presentation itself. Review tab. The Review tab, as shown in Figure 7.36, is used primarily when you are collaborating on a presentation with someone else or incorporating feedback on your draft slides. However, this tab still offers valuable resources if you are creating your presentation on your own. The first command group in this tab is proofing. As with any document you produce, it is essential that you proofread everything, including text, figure captions, and any handouts you may have for the participants. The presentation and handouts should reflect your professionalism and attention to detail, but you should not rely solely on the spell check tool to find all the errors. Among other things, spell check often does not identify spelling errors in proper names or words that are spelled correctly but used incorrectly. Additionally, errors will be much more noticeable when they are displayed on a large format screen. It's easy to overlook errors in our own work, so be sure to have a friend or coworker review the slides to look for errors. All of the proofing options can be set before you begin writing. This is done by choosing File, Options, and then Proofing. These options are similar to what we covered in Essentials of Software Applications for Business. Link to Learning. Proofreading a presentation can be much different from proofreading a document. This article on the importance of proofreading presentations addresses how to effectively proofread PowerPoint presentations. The Thesaurus tool is helpful when you write the dialogue that will accompany the slideshow, as it will offer alternatives to the words you have used in the presentation. For example, we used the word hometown in our background slide. When we click on that word and choose Thesaurus from the Review tab, a pane will open on the right offering alternative words that are similar to hometown, Figure 7.36. This tool can come in handy if you find yourself using the same words multiple times in a presentation. You can vary the words used and still convey the same message. A PowerPoint screen with the Review tab selected is shown. The Thesaurus feature has been selected. Figure 7.36. The Review tab covers proofing options, adding comments, and comparing different versions of the show. The Thesaurus will help you enhance the slides by offering synonyms for words, which will appear below the search bar. Used with permission from Microsoft. Mac tip. On Mac, this command is found in the PowerPoint menu, then Preferences, then Proofing. Comments. As in other Microsoft products, the Review tab is also where you can find tools for collaboration and commenting. PowerPoint does not allow users to track changes. We discuss a workaround for this in the Compare section. When working with others to produce a presentation, your colleagues have the option of adding comments to it. To do this, open the Review tab, then click on a word in the place where you want the comment to appear, and then click on New Comment. As you can see in the example slide in Figure 7.37, the Comments pane opens to the right. After you type the comment and click Enter, a reply text box becomes available. You or anyone else with permission to work on the presentation can enter a reply to the comment here. Notice that a callout symbol opens in the place where you want the comment to apply. You can move the callout symbol around on the slide without affecting the content of the comment. A PowerPoint screen with the Review tab selected is shown. The Show Comments feature has been clicked and an open comment bubble has been created. Figure 7.37. A callout symbol helps you find where the comment is located. This is particularly useful when the commenter uses directional references such as, "Let's move the title here," used with permission from Microsoft. Compare. Unlike Word, PowerPoint does not offer a tracking function. However, you can use the Compare command, also found under the Review tab, as a workaround to tracking changes. To use this tool, you will need to have different versions of the presentation saved. The Compare command then will look for differences between the two files, and you can either decide one by one to accept or reject each change or accept or reject all the changes differences between the two files. To see how the Compare command works, let's use the presentation we created in the previous chapter, along with the updated version we have created thus far in this chapter. Here we have saved the previous chapter presentation as version 1 and the current presentation as version 2. Note that the different versions of the presentations must have different names. To begin, choose the Compare command from the Review tab and find the version 1 file you are going to use to compare to the current version, Figure 7.38. Then click Open, and you will notice that you now have access to other tools available in the Compare command group on the Review tab. You can use the tools and the pane on the right of the screen to scroll through the differences between the two files and determine if you want to accept or reject the changes. You can choose to accept or reject the changes for each individual slide, or you can accept or reject them for the entire presentation as you move through the comparisons, Figure 7.39. A screenshot of the file saving feature is shown. Figure 7.38. Make sure that the file you choose to compare to has a different file name, used with permission from Microsoft. A screenshot of a partial view of a PowerPoint screen is shown with the Review tab selected. The Accept button has been clicked, showing different options. Figure 7.39. Using the Compare tool is not quite the same as tracking changes, but it can be close. It allows you to compare different versions of the same file. Used with permission from Microsoft. Printing a presentation. Sometimes, as a presenter, you may wish to print your presentation as a handout for the audience. You could provide the slides as a handout prior to the presentation so that the participants can take their own notes on the information, or offer them to participants as they exit the presentation. PowerPoint gives you many options for accomplishing this. On the File menu, click Print, and you will see a familiar pop-up menu, as shown in Figure 7.40 and Figure 7.41. Image A shows a screenshot of the print options. Image B shows the same print options with the Print All Slides feature selected. Figure 7.40a. When printing a presentation, you have several options. Many of these options are similar to what you might find when printing a Microsoft Word document. B. You can choose to print select slides or just a few slides. Used with permission from Microsoft. A screenshot of the print option with the full page slides feature selected is shown. Figure 7.41. When printing the slides, you can choose to have several on one page to save paper. This might be a nice option if you are printing for audience handouts. Used with permission from Microsoft. The Print All Slides option allows you to print the whole presentation, to print just the current slide on the screen, or to selectively print only the slides you want. The Print Full Page Slides option brings up a menu of layouts so you can print anywhere from 2 to 9 slides to a page, and can indicate whether you want them to appear in a horizontal or vertical format. You may also choose to print the notes page and the outline. These can be helpful as you rehearse your presentation. Other considerations before presenting. In addition to the practical aspects of your slideshow, such as how the slides appear to your audience, what media to include, and how to print your slides, there are other less tangible things to consider before showing your slide collection to an audience. These include the length of your presentation, audience interaction, note-taking, and accessibility. Presentation length. When constructing and preparing for a presentation, you need to know how much time is allotted for the talk. Is your presentation the main component of the meeting, or will several others also be presenting? Knowing how much time you have to present will dictate how much information and, in turn, how many slides you will have in the slideshow. Keep in mind that you should not overuse slides. You are the main part of the presentation. The slides are there to enhance and support what you are saying by keeping the audience engaged and conveying the main points you want to get across. They should not contain all the content you are sharing. The optimal number of slides depends on the content you are sharing. For example, if you are sharing complicated data in an informational presentation, you will need more slides to break up the material. If you are giving an inspirational presentation, you may need fewer slides, most of which should be images rather than text. A good strategy is to use allotted time to determine the number of slides. As a rule of thumb, each slide should be on the screen for about a minute, so a 10-minute presentation would have about 10 slides. Of course, this can vary based on the type of information contained on the slides. The audience might need more than a minute to digest and understand data and graphs on a slide, whereas they may need only 15 or 20 seconds to get the full effect of a slide consisting entirely of pictures. Practice your presentation. You may want to have someone track the time, or you can simply set a timer on your phone. You could use the timer to gauge how long you need to spend on each slide. You may even want to have this timer displayed on your laptop screen close to your speaker's notes so it will be in your line of sight. If you run out of time before you have discussed all of the slides, you will know that you have too many slides. At that point, you can consider either removing some slides altogether or merging information on 2 or more slides onto a single slide. Audience interaction and questions. When you give a presentation, it is likely that there will be questions from the audience. Figure 7.42. During your preparation phase, brainstorm a list of questions that might be asked or areas where you think more clarification will be needed. A photograph of a classroom with rows of students sitting behind computers and raising their hands. The instructor stands at the front next to a projected screen. Figure 7.42. It can be helpful to have answers and comments prepared in anticipation of a lot of people having questions. Promising to get back to attendees with questions that you can't answer at the moment is acceptable as well. Credit. Person raising hand by PX Fuel public domain. Consider creating a frequently asked questions (FAQ) page to distribute to the audience for questions that you feel are likely to be asked. You might even have a friend or family member listen to the presentation and ask you tough questions. This exercise will not only help prepare you to answer tough questions, but can also help you maintain your composure if someone challenges you in front of the group. If that happens, you should remain professional and not respond defensively to questions or challenges from participants. You may even want to encourage interaction and questions from the audience. Take a bit of time to plan ahead for how you will interact with the audience and address questions from participants. You can certainly ask the audience to hold all questions until the end of the presentation, but be aware that this often reduces engagement, and you may find that you have no questions at all at the end of the presentation. Only silence. If you want to hold questions until the presentation is over, you might ask a colleague or friend to be prepared to ask a question that will get the conversation started. Sometimes participants will be more engaged after the first question, so having a plant in the audience to ask the first question can get things moving. Also consider a strategy where you have audience interaction from the beginning and encourage questions during the presentation. One effective way to set the stage for having a dialogue with the audience during the presentation is to start by posing a question to participants. This can be very general, "How is everyone this morning?" Or it can be something specific related to the presentation you are about to give. Amir's introduction presentation for World Corp conveys his leadership skills and his passion for kayaking, so he might start by asking who in the audience enjoys water sports or what characteristics make a good leader. All of these ideas will set the stage for a more interactive presentation. Figure 7.43 outlines some other tips and strategies for handling audience questions. A collage of colored note cards with handwritten notes on them is shown. Figure 7.43 have a strategy planned before the presentation to deal with audience questions. Speaker's notes. You can convey a more professional and well-prepared appearance in front of a group if you present without holding note cards or note pages during the presentation. However, it may be helpful for you to have a few notes visible to keep you on track during the presentation or to capture details such as sales figures that you want to be sure to quote exactly. This is where speaker's notes can come into play. In normal view, you can see the space for notes at the bottom of the slide, figure 7.44. If you do not see the Notes section at the bottom of the slide, you can click on the Notes button from the View tab. When you add your notes, they will appear as shown below the slide, figure 7.45. Click to add the details and click Save. A PowerPoint screen with the View tab open and the normal option selected is shown. The Click to Add Notes feature at the bottom of the screen is circled. Figure 7.44 slides do not come with any notes by default. If you want notes to appear with slides, you must add them. Used with permission from Microsoft. PowerPoint screen with View tab open and normal options selected shown. Remember to share the story of getting into kayaking and details about the trip summer 2022, shown in Notes section. Figure 7.45 speaker's notes appear directly below the slide. They are only visible to you, the presenter, and will not be shown to the audience during the presentation. Used with permission from Microsoft. When you present your slideshow, do so using Presenter's View. Make sure you check the box found on the slideshow ribbon. Your notes will appear on your laptop but not on the projection screen. Your audience will not see your notes. Accessibility and languages. An additional consideration when preparing a slide presentation is making sure the information and format of the presentation can be understood by all of your viewers. The Check Accessibility tool in PowerPoint functions in the same way that it does in Word. This feature can be set to continue running while you are creating the presentation. It will look for items that might cause accessibility issues, such as color contrast and font size, and offer suggestions for correcting the issues. For example, the tool might find that there is not enough contrast between the background color and the text color, making the text hard to read. Or it may flag text in a table as being unreadable due to it being too small. The accessibility tool will also indicate if images have appropriate alt tags associated with them. You may also have speakers of other languages in your audience. The Translate tool, found in the Review tab, can be helpful if you need to make the material available in a language other than the one you wrote the slideshow in. The Translate tool can be used to translate the entire presentation or just the current slide. If you speak a language other than English yourself, you can also set the default language to be different from English when typing in content to the slides. A word of caution for relying solely on the Translate tool. Like the spell check tool, it may not be completely accurate and should be reviewed by a person. It would be beneficial to have a proficient speaker of the language review the translation for accuracy before you share the presentation. As World Corp operates globally, this tool can be useful when sharing information with the company's international divisions. Room setup and technology. You will likely be presenting with several types of technology, including the laptop on which you created the slideshow, monitors, audio equipment, and others. As part of your preparation process, make sure you understand the environment in which you will be presenting. If you can, visit the physical space in advance and see how the room will be set up. This may mean you will need to make time to come to the room on a day prior to your presentation, or to show up early on the same day to familiarize yourself with the room and technology. When you are there, you should be looking at how the audience will be arranged in relation to you as the speaker, as well as the setup of the technology. You will also want to know what the speaker space looks like. Will you have space at the front of the room to walk back and forth a bit, or will you be restricted to standing behind a podium or sitting at a computer terminal? You will also want to test the acoustics in the room. You will want to know if your voice level will be appropriate or if a microphone will be needed. Another item to consider is how you will manage printed handouts for the audience if you have incorporated these into the presentation. Will the room setup give you easy access so you can distribute the handouts, or will you need to have them available as participants enter the space? You may want to consider asking a colleague to be responsible for passing out the materials. The point is to be prepared and know the space before giving your presentation. This will not only set your mind at ease if you are nervous, but it will convey a level of professionalism during the presentation. Coming unprepared for the layout of the room can add an unnecessary layer of stress and confusion when giving an important presentation. It is even more advantageous if you can view your slideshow in the space you will be presenting in. Put your slides up on the display screen and go to the back of the room to see how they look. Often, how slides appear on the computer or laptop screen may not be how they show up on a large projector screen or a large monitor. By previewing the slides from the back of the room, you can determine if changes are needed to color schemes or font sizes to make the slides more readable from that distance. Being prepared for the various technologies you will encounter is also important. Some technologies you can provide yourself, such as a slide clicker. A slide clicker or presentation remote is a tool that can pair with your laptop and allow you to click through your slides from a distance. Some remotes also include laser pointers, so you can point to things on your slides from a distance. If the slide clicker has a laser pointer included, make sure you know how to use the pointer and think about how you might incorporate it into your presentation. You may also have several audio options available to you. Using a lapel microphone or a mic that clips onto your shirt will allow you to move freely about the room. However, some spaces may only have a microphone at a podium, so you will need to stand in one place to use it. Your approach to the presentation will likely change if you have to click the slides at the computer and be at a podium for the microphone. There is more flexibility to move about the room when giving a presentation if you have a slide clicker and lapel microphone. It is also a good idea to test each piece of equipment to make sure it is functional and that you know how to use the technology. It can be embarrassing to be in a situation where the technology is not working or you do not know how to use the devices. Many venues and companies will have a person assigned to address technology issues during presentations. This could be someone from the information technology department or someone else who is familiar with the room and the technology. It is a good idea to find out if that person will be in the room during your presentation or available quickly if needed. Some additional technology considerations include issues of compatibility between your file and the computer available in the room. We see this often when going from a Mac to a Windows environment. Make sure your file is saved in a format that will be universally accessible. Often, saving your file in PDF format ensures it can be accessed on a variety of platforms. You can review how to do this in Essentials of Software Applications for Business. It is also a good idea to have your presentation file saved in multiple locations, for example, on the hard drive of your laptop in OneDrive, and on an external storage device such as a flash drive, in case the internet is inaccessible. You may also want to email yourself a copy of the file so that you can access it that way if necessary. There is no expectation that you are a computer expert, but preparing and having a backup plan in place can help ease your mind and reduce some stress associated with giving a big presentation. Also, if you know you will have challenges with technology, be sure to let the meeting organizer know so they can be prepared to help or have someone who can assist if needed. Types of presentations. With the technology available today, it is likely that you will be a part of a meeting that has virtual participants. Many meetings will still be conducted fully in person with all participants in the same room, but it is becoming more common for meetings to be either fully virtual or hybrid, with some in-person participants and some online participants. Your preparation for such a meeting can vary based on the type of presentation you will be giving. Most of our discussion so far has been centered on fully in-person presentations with the speaker and the audience in the same physical space. If you will be part of a meeting where some or all will be participating virtually, there are other items to consider. Fully virtual meetings. Let's first consider a fully virtual meeting, where you as the speaker as well as the participants are online. Virtual presentations can be even more impactful and beneficial due to various web conferencing tools that can enhance the presentation, like polls and other tools. This could be using a program such as Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Each participant will join the meeting space via the internet and while being physically in their own space. If you have had online courses, you may have already experienced such a meeting and may have a good idea about some of the potential challenges and benefits. For example, a fully virtual meeting can be accessible for everyone who has the technology needed to attend. In some cases, you can also share more content in a virtual meeting than in an in-person meeting through the chat feature and other document sharing options. The chat feature also allows a bit more audience interaction, as all participants can post questions and comments in the chat. Finally, you may find an online presentation less stressful than an in-person event, because you do not have to stand in front of a crowd, but can be in a familiar, comfortable space such as your own office. However, virtual presentations also pose numerous challenges. First, it is much harder to keep the audience engaged, especially if participants do not have their cameras on. You can politely request participants keep their cameras on during the presentation, but that does not automatically mean they are more engaged or that they will comply. And this can be hard to manage as the speaker if there is a large audience. Think about times that you have participated in an online class or meeting. You may be doing other things such as checking email or dealing with issues at home during the meeting class. One way to combat this in an online meeting is to set up breakout sessions groups where the participants interact with one another in a small group setting. You can also use the chat feature or conduct a live poll to encourage audience participation. As the speaker, you will need to make an active effort to engage participants. This can start even before the actual presentation begins. For example, you might send participants a questionnaire beforehand and address those questions during the presentation. Or you can survey participants to identify key topics they would like you to address. Finally, if you ask participants to pre-register, you will have a list of their names if you want to address them individually during the presentation. Preparing for a virtual presentation is the same in many ways as preparing for a fully in-person talk. For example, preparing your slides is the same, but you may be able to include a bit more text on each slide because participants will have the slides right in front of them. You will still need to prepare and practice with the technology. Be sure you know how to mute and unmute participants and how to share your screen with the audience so they can see the slides. These settings may be different depending on the software you are using to present, whether it is Zoom, Google Meet, WebEx, or another program. You need to make sure your online connectivity is dependable and that you have good sound quality as you are speaking. You will need to test the camera on your computer in the space that you will be in. Look at the lighting in the room and see how it looks on the screen. Keep your camera at eye level and examine how you are spaced in the video screen. You do not want to be either too close to the camera or too far away. Either will make it harder to hear what you are saying. To reduce distractions, turn off on-screen notifications for any apps installed on your computer. For example, make sure that participants won't hear a ding every time you get an email. Make sure your presentation environment is a quiet, professional space with minimal distractions. You probably do not want unwanted guests, such as your cat or dog, making their appearance during the presentation. Look at the background the audience will see behind you. Many virtual presentation platforms have tools that allow you to blur and change the background for a more professional appearance. Make sure you are focused on the camera and the presentation. You do not want to give the impression that you too are distracted and not engaged, especially when you are the speaker. Additionally, consider setting expectations for the audience at the very beginning of the presentation. Do you want participants to put their questions in the chat, or would you like them to use features such as the raise hand icon to indicate they have a question? Will you have breakout sessions during the talk? Ask participants to turn on their cameras and mute themselves, and then let them know if the session is being recorded. Addressing these items at the beginning of the presentation will help avoid distractions later. Finally, decide how you are going to monitor the chat during the presentation. Will you be answering questions and comments while you are speaking? It may be a better idea to ask a colleague to be responsible for monitoring the chat and the participants for relevant questions and comments. That way, you can focus on presenting without the added stress of keeping track of the chat. Hybrid presentations. Hybrid presentations, where some participants are in person and others are virtual, pose additional challenges. As much as possible, try to set the stage so that all participants have a similar experience and walk away with the same information. However, you cannot control all the nuances of a hybrid presentation, starting with the risk that online participants will feel left out of the conversation. Extra care will be needed to make sure the virtual participants are fully engaged. At the beginning of the session, acknowledge and welcome those who are online. When you are speaking to a hybrid group of participants, it is important to make eye contact with both groups. Make sure to focus attention on the virtual participants on the screen as much as those who are in the room. Again, asking participants to keep their cameras on will help keep them engaged in the meeting. Remind yourself or a helper to check regularly for raised hands and chat comments during the presentation. When a comment is posed in the chat by a virtual participant, read the comment aloud for the in-person audience. If you are using breakout rooms during the session, include virtual participants in the activity and combine groups so there is interaction between both in-person and virtual participants. Consider displaying the virtual participants on a large screen so the in-person audience can see them. It is impossible to anticipate all the hiccups that can happen during a presentation. With careful planning beforehand, however, you can be prepared for many of the likely issues and feel less anxiety when speaking in front of a group, whether in person or virtual. Link to learning. Creating a real-time poll during your presentation can help increase engagement during a virtual or hybrid presentation. Instructions on how to create a poll in Zoom are given on the Zoom platform. Learning objectives. By the end of this section, you will be able to add slide transitions into a slide presentation. Understand the commands in the Tools tab. Add audio and video to a slides presentation. Know how to use the collaboration tools in slides. Now that you have mastered creating an engaging presentation in PowerPoint, we will look at similar features in Google Slides. Slides offers collaboration tools similar to those we saw with Docs. You can do much of the same design work in Slides that you can in PowerPoint, albeit with some limitations and differences. Slides offers many templates to get you started, but it also includes all the tools you need to create a presentation from scratch. Here we are going to focus on adding the finishing touches to the slides presentation you created in preparing presentations. Add transitions. When presenting, strive to strike a balance between the information that the slideshow conveys and the way it conveys that information. Your goal is to hold the audience's attention while not adding so many special effects that you end up distracting them. Transitions are key to achieving this balance. As with PowerPoint, transitions are the way the slides move from one to the next. Transitions must be applied to one slide at a time unless you click on Apply to all slides. When you click on Transitions, found on the right side of the action bar, a sidebar will open up, where you will see a menu of different available transitions, Figure 746. A close-up screenshot of the slide transition feature is shown. There is an arrow pointing to the None option. Figure 746. The default is to have no transition between the slides, which means the next slide will appear with no special effects. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. There are several choices to consider when adding transitions to your slides. Not all transitions will provide a professional appearance, and some may be more distracting than impactful. The same principles apply as PowerPoint. Always consider the audience's perspective. As the speaker, could a transition be a helpful tool to help you slow down a bit between slides or topics, or to give you a moment to gather your thoughts as you move to the next slide? As you rehearse your presentation, keep these items in mind. Remember, if you find a transition more bothersome than helpful, it will also be distracting to your audience. Now, using the My Life in a Snapshot presentation, add a few slide transitions to engage the audience. Open the presentation you created in slides in preparing presentations. You may need to refer to the material in Essentials of Software Applications for Business to remember how to open a file in Google. Begin by adding a transition to the first slide. First, select the slide, then go to Transition on the action bar. Then, from the sidebar on the right, click the down arrow next to None to reveal what transitions are currently applied to the slide. Then click on None in the drop-down menu to reveal the different transition options, Figure 747. Image A shows the drop-down menu for the Transitions feature. Image B shows the same transitions features with the Dissolve option selected. There is an arrow pointing to the speed bar, another pointing to the Apply to All Slides button, and another pointing to the Play button. Figure 747A. This drop-down menu shows that there are currently no transitions applied to the slide. B. You can choose to apply a transition to all slides or to the current slide only. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. Try a few options to see which you find most appropriate. To preview the transition, click the Play button at the bottom of the pane. Notice that you can also change the speed of the transition by moving the slider between slow and fast. After you have added the desired transition, adjusted the speed if needed, and looked at the result, click the X in the upper right-hand corner of the pane to close it out. Tools menu. The Tools menu in Slides includes many features for fine-tuning your slides. Here you will find tools for proofing, accessibility, linking objects, and much more. Figure 748. A screenshot of the Tools menu is shown. Figure 748. The Tools menu contains some standard features such as spell check, as well as features unique to Google like the Q&A history tool. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. Spelling. The first command in the Tools menu is Spelling. Clicking on Spelling opens a menu with 3 choices: Spell check, show spelling suggestions, and personal dictionary. These are all standard proofing tools that behave just like the ones you have already encountered in Docs, collaborative editing, and reviewing in Google Docs. The personal dictionary is especially useful if you use several terms that may be unique to your business, including variations on the name of the business. For example, you could keep a list of employees' names in your personal dictionary, which will save you time when you need to issue different documents to employees and will prevent you from being stopped by spell check. Linked objects. Linked objects is also found in the Tools menu. Clicking on Linked Objects brings up a viewing pane on the right and lists anything in your presentation that contains a link to another file. For example, suppose you are presenting WorldCorp quarterly sales data and notice an error in a table that was created in Docs and linked on a slide. Using linked objects, you can choose that doc file from the list and make the needed revisions. This would not only update the table in your slide, but will also revise the original docs file where the table was created. This function is especially helpful when your presentation contains graphs and charts created in another Google program, like Docs or Sheets. You will learn more about Sheets in working with spreadsheets. Rather than going into the original data file, editing the material, then copying and pasting the chart or graph back into your slide's presentation, you can simply make the edits in the original file and your slide will automatically be updated. Q&A. Q&A is a unique feature of Slides. It allows collaboration that goes beyond simply sharing the file with other users. Using the Q&A tool, you can collaborate and interact directly with the audience during the presentation, and audience members can interact with each other. You need to activate this tool before you can use it. To do this, navigate to the top right corner of your screen and click on the down triangle next to Slideshow. This is next to the Share button. See Figure 749. You are offered 2 options: Presenter View and Start from Beginning. Click on Presenter View. A close-up screenshot of the Presenter View features is shown. Figure 749, the presenter view will not only activate the Q&A tool but will also show you the speaker notes. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. This brings up a new window that looks like Figure 750. This is what you will see when you are ready to accept questions from the audience. When you are ready to start a Q&A session, click on Start New. A screenshot showing the location of the Select Audience tools is shown. Figure 750, select Audience tools in the right pane, then click on Start New. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. You will then be taken to a page with a URL at the top for audience members. The Accepting Questions from toggle will automatically be turned to on, though you can toggle it to off at any time. When it is turned on, you will see a URL, as shown in Figure 751. The audience can go to that URL on their phones or tablets. It will take them directly to the Ask a Question page, where they can type in their question and click Submit. Figure 752, Figure 753. This is the page where the questions will appear. A screenshot showing the Q&A feature is shown. Figure 751, the Q&A feature is especially helpful when giving virtual presentations. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. A screenshot showing how the URL used for submitting a question will look is shown. Figure 752, participants use the URL at the top of the slide to submit a question. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. A screenshot showing messages sent through the Q&A feature is shown. Figure 753, if the participant is logged into Google, you will see their name picture. The form through which participants can enter their questions looks a lot like a Google form. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. The questions will appear to the presenter as they come in the order in which they were asked. Figure 754. Also, everyone will see the questions that come in from all members of the audience. Participants can also interact with one another in the Q&A screen. They can like questions or comments and can also reply to one another. To shut down the Q&A, just move the On button at the top of the questions page to off. The audience will see a message something like this on their devices. Sorry, this Q&A session is closed. If you decide to take questions from the audience later in your presentation instead of selecting Start New, you can choose another option, Continue Recent. This will continue the same Q&A session. A screenshot of the presenter view with the Accepting Questions feature turned on is shown. Figure 754, in the presenter view, you will see the questions as they are asked. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. Insert audio and video. Adding sound to your slides presentation is another way to engage your audience. You can insert any audio file, as long as they are in MP3 or WAV format. First, navigate to the Insert menu and click on Audio. Google lets you choose where to search for audio files: My Drive, Shared with Me, or Recent. When you find the file you want, click on Select. An audio icon will come up with a play bar, which will show you the position in the track and its length. Figure 755. Remember, the icon has to be selected to view the play bar. A screenshot of the audio icon is shown. Figure 755. This is the audio icon after audio is inserted on a slide. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. To control the volume, hover your mouse over the speaker symbol. The Format Options pane under the Format tab has other controls you may need, as shown in Figure 756. A close-up screenshot of the format options for audio playback is shown. Figure 756. The Format Options pane gives you a few options to control and modify your audio output. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. Use the audio playback controls to set how the audio will start, either automatically with the slide or on the click of the mouse. You can choose to loop the audio or to stop it with a slide change. Inserting a video uses much the same process. Navigate to the Insert menu, then click on Video. As with inserting an audio file, you can navigate to where your video file is located in My Drive, or your hard drive, or in a shared drive folder, or you can search YouTube or paste in a URL. Figure 757. A screenshot of the Insert Video feature is shown with the YouTube icon in the center and the message Search all of YouTube or paste a URL. Figure 7. 57. Remember your audience when selecting videos. Make sure they are a suitable length and fully vetted of any controversial content. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. As in PowerPoint, the video will initially appear very large on your slide, but you can make it smaller by dragging the corners. A play button will appear in the center of the video thumbnail. When you have the video thumbnail selected, the Format Options pane will appear on the right, figure 758. There are a number of different options and settings you can apply and modify. Try a few different ones to see what their effects are like. A screenshot of the format options is shown. Figure 7. 58 videos take your slideshow to another level. Format options helps you present them on the slide to give them their due. Alt text, in particular, allows you to describe what's in the video for those who can't see it. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. Collaboration tools. As with any Google product, Slides makes it easy to collaborate with others. At any point when you wish to share your work with others, click on the Share button in the upper right corner. Alternatively, you can click on File and then choose Share, which is the first option in the File menu. Clicking Share first brings up a window asking you for a title. You can enter a title or click on Skip this step. Then you will see a window called Share with People and Groups, where you can add the names of people with whom you wish to share the presentation. This window should look familiar to you, as it is the same sharing window that appears in Docs. You have the usual options available to you. You can email your presentation to other individuals or groups, the first option in the window, or get a link to the presentation that you can also email to others or post online, the second option. You can also restrict or permit the actions of editors, and change the options that you allow to viewers and commenters via the settings icon in the top right corner. Insert comments. When you are collaborating with others, it is often necessary to add comments and have your comments responded to. To insert comments in Slides, click on the comment icon in the action bar, figure 759. You can also access comments by clicking on Insert and then Comment. A screenshot of the action bar with the comment icon indicated is shown. Figure 7. 59 Slides makes it easy to comment and collaborate on a presentation. Click on the comment icon and a little window will pop up with a place for you to write your comment. Next, click on Comment. It's that simple. Communication is practically instantaneous. Now you can send your presentation off to your colleagues or save it to Google Drive. Figure 760 shows an example of a comment made on a slide as well as the response. A screenshot of the commenting interface with shared messages from two commenters is shown. Figure 760. The commenting interface is similar to the one in Docs. You can also tag other users so they get notified. Google Slides is a trademark of Google LLC. For every comment you insert, clicking on the three dots in the upper right corner allows you to edit the comment or delete it. Note that you can reply to others' comments but cannot edit them.